Welcome to the INNOTECH podcast series, your go-to source for the latest trends and innovation in education. Today, we're exploring digital parenting, how to guide and support children in a world filled with screens, apps, and endless possibilities. As part of the Digital Technology for Education of Parents initiative, or DT4E Parents, we'll talk about the challenges and opportunities for parents in the 21st century and how we can all grow alongside our children by building our digital skills, understanding the benefits and risks of digital technology, and becoming better learning partners for them. Hi everyone, I'm Emmy Anyanga Domingo. Welcome to another episode of INNOTECH Podcast. In the last episode, we talked about parental mediation and how much we're doing to keep our children safe from the dangers lurking online. In this episode, we'll talk about a critical question that every parent, guardian, and caregiver should be asking. How do we promote health and well-being of our children in this digital age? Joining us for this episode is Dr. Annalyn De Guzman Capulong, registered psychologist and associate professor at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ma'am Lynn.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
So why don't we start with a challenge many parents face today, choosing apps that are truly educational? What should parents keep in mind before downloading an app for their kids?
I think it's one of the challenges of parents nowadays on how to choose wisely the apps that are supposedly educational. Because at times I observe that parents would just, look at the top ranked app and then just blindly download them. Then anyway, they are the top rank. But more importantly, they could follow 4 elements in evaluating apps that are truly or supposedly educational. The first one is the app should have or reflect active learning. So an app should actually encourage more thinking rather than passively processing or consuming something. For example, there are some apps that are really more for entertainment, like YouTube for kids. A child can watch another child on the video unboxing a toy. That's entertaining, but that's also passive. We want an app that would encourage a child to learn within the content of the app, make them do some tasks that could encourage active participation. The second one is engagement in learning. An app should also encourage focus rather than being distracted. There should be focus, paid attention, rather than being distracted with other elements. So I'll give an example. There are reading apps that could be very enticing because it's very colorful, many sounds, many things that you can click on, but that's very distracting. We want a reading app that is simpler, that can really make the child focus on reading rather than getting distracted with the sounds and the cute images around. That's a good example of making it focused and not a source of distraction. And then the third one is actually meaningful learning. So what do you mean by meaningful learning? An app should also be relevant to the child. For example, children in Asian countries, we would want to look for apps that are relatable to children or Asian children. For example, an app about counting. Ideally, the counting should reflect objects familiar to the child, like counting fruits such as bananas rather than peaches or figs that are not really relevant or familiar to the child. Or maybe an app of doing a certain task like sweeping the floor, that's familiar to us, rather than shoveling stone. So it's not relevant to us. Meaningful means it's relevant, it's very relatable to the child. Contextualize, it's very important. When they can relate, they can understand better. And then the last one is social interaction. An app should encourage social interaction or engagement. There are apps where the child is given feedback, whether the child did it correctly or not. There are also apps that are very passive in the sense that there are no feedbacks, no interaction, or no guidance from the app. That is the one that we want to refrain from. Essentially, social interaction would provide guidance for the child so that the child can do something or learn something properly and correctly.
That's really a great checklist for evaluating which applications parents should download for their kids. I also love how you break down those criteria and connect them to the context of a child's daily life. Now, we all know that technology often becomes a double-edged sword, in our homes. So, Doc Lynn, what advice can you give parents who want to create balance but struggle with implementing rules for responsible and safe use of technology in their homes?
It's a universal goal to strive or strike a balance when it comes to digital media use or technology use. There are 3 things parents can try to implement. The first one is focus on relationships first. When every family member is busy with their own gadget, that's the problem. So we prioritize and make sure that there's family time, that we also prioritize family engagement, make sure that family members can spend time together, have quality time doing off-screen activities. Like during dinner, they can talk with each other, or they can have fun activities that are screen-free, like playing board games, or even going out together as a family. So it's important to nurture that relationship within the family. And then the second one is be intentional in digital media use. Not only the children's media use, but also the parents' media use. As a parent, being intentional means what is your purpose? Why are you letting your child use the digital media or the device? Based on my studies, parents would really aim to let the children use digital media for not only recreational, but more importantly, for education. You have to be intentional. So as a parent or caregiver, how do we become intentional? It means that we have to be mindful, we have to be aware of how we use digital media, because it will impact on our children's digital media use also. Studies show that parents' digital media use is highly associated with children's digital media use. So when a parent uses digital media more often, or there's high screen time, it means that more likely the children would also have high screen time.
I really like how you highlighted how the parents' own digital use and experiences would affect and impact their children's screen time. I think this is really, really relatable to most parents like myself. There's so many instances when I ask my 8-year-old daughter to please limit your screen time, stop with your apps. However, I find myself scrolling on my own screen and device. So how do you really manage that?
That's true. That's a very realistic experience of parents. Do you want to let your children have a regulated digital media use, but here you are as a parent who cannot regulate your own media use. That's why we also highlight the importance of good role modeling. Let's be good role models to our children so that they would also reflect and behave the correct and proper digital media use. Because in the end, children learn by watching parents.
And I also recall one of my experiences also, Doc Lynn, when we tell our daughter to limit her screen time, she would always ask, why would I limit my screen time? And you're there. And I think also as we reflect on it with my husband, what we've realized is that it's also very important to explain to the child the importance of why we have this rule.
Yes, because if you say, just copy me, just follow, but the child cannot understand, the child cannot appreciate because they don't know the context, they don't know the reason behind. And also, I would like to share, like me personally, in our family, we would like that during dinner time or meal time, that there will be no gadgets. I myself, I become mindful, because, at work, I might need my mobile phone, but then during meal times, I become more mindful that I should not use my phone, because that's what I tell my children, so that I can also emulate that with my children during meal times. It's a challenge, but we can do it. Yes.
Right, now let's move to social media. We know it can be a source of both entertainment and stress, but how can parents help their children identify and manage stressors on social media?
There's one material by Dr. Sophia Bradley suggested simple activity that a parent can do with a child in terms of social media activities. I could share that's a simple activity, but I think as parents, let's just be aware that when we do this with our children, let's make it natural. It's not like forced, or it's not like very artificial, or an assignment. So what is this short but simple activity? First, together with the child, they can think or come up with 10 to 20 social media activities that the child engages in. And then what do we do with this list? Once the child comes up with this 10 to 20 social media activities, the next step is to process this list. The first one is to ask the child social media activities that make them really happy. No? Another question would be the parent asking the child to list 3 social media activities that could be fun, no? But can only make them happy for a short time. Okay? And then third question would be the parent asking the child to list 3 social media activities that are stressful for them. And then the last question would be to ask the child to list 3 social media activities that they spend a lot of time. No? So those are the 4 process questions that the parent can ask the child. No? I think this would help parents and children get a clearer picture of what changes are needed in terms of social media activities.
Oh, that sounds really practical, Doc Lynn. But once they've identified these stressors, how can families now start fostering healthier online habits?
I think based on the previous activity that I have mentioned, to foster these healthy online behaviors, I think the question, after you do the previous activity I've mentioned earlier, the parent can talk with the child and ask what social activities can really bring real joy or real happiness to the child. Is it really making you happy for a longer period of time, or is it something that could only provide short-time happiness or short-time fun? That's one question. Then another question would be, are you engaging in activities that would make you more stressed? Because that's, of course, obviously, we would want to lessen stress among children because of doing certain social media activities or social online behaviors. We also reflect, are the social media activities or the online behaviors engaged by the child really reflect the family core values? Or are these behaviors aligned with the values that the parent want to teach their children? For instance, if the family values kindness, values safety, respect, even in online mode, in online setting, even when they use social media, we hope that children would reflect these values in terms of how they use the social media, how they comment on posts of their friends, on how they practice online manners, on how they practice respect even in the online platform.
That's really interesting, Doc Lynn. The family is being able to really identify their core values, as individuals and as a family, and really try to uphold that regardless if it's online or offline. So, Doc Lynn, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. We learned how to evaluate educational apps, create a healthy balance in technology use, explored ways to help children identify social media stressors, and develop healthier online habits that align with their values. And at the core of it all is the importance of guidance, open conversations, and intentional digital use to support our children's well-being in today's digital world. So parents, you've heard it here. Digital wellness is not about eliminating technology, but it's about guiding our kids to use it meaningfully and healthily. And here's your parenting homework. This week, try the social media activity that Dr. Lynn shared and let us know how it worked for your family by tagging us on social media. Until next time, once again, this is Emmy, reminding you to embrace innovation with caution and to always keep your child at the heart of it all. Thank you for listening to the INNOTECH podcast. For more tips and resources on parenting and education in the digital age, visit our website and follow us on social media.